Hello everybody, this is your host, David Scheuer, and welcome back to StockerFinance. It's been a little bit, but we're back. We got our new studio all set up in my new place here. I'm munching on some very good food, some rice, beans, a little bit of sriracha, and egg on top. Perfect. And today we're going to be talking about an article that I recently saw, and the article is titled here. It's called, "Is Amazon Stock Deeply Undervalued? This Analyst Says Yes." And you know when an analyst says yes to a stock that's being undervalued, or whenever an analyst says something, they're always right. Just kidding. Most of the time, they're wrong. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at this, because Amazon is a stock that most people would think is not undervalued at all. It's almost $1 trillion company. How could you say it's undervalued when it's worth so much? But if we compare it to other companies such as Microsoft, which I'm going to do here, we might get a different perspective. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So our first graph here is we're just going to check out the stock prices and the market cap of each of these. So first off, Microsoft, $137 a share. Obviously, they've had share splits, so the share price does not really matter here. But its market cap is $1.05 trillion, whereas Amazon's is $869.36 billion, significantly less than that of Microsoft's. So is Amazon really worth less overall than Microsoft? Well, let's go ahead and look at the fundamentals here, look at some numbers, and as well as look at the companies as a whole and compare the two, because this will give us a better visualization if Amazon is undervalued. Because if we think it's worth more or the same as Microsoft, then we know, since its market cap is so much lower, that it is undervalued. And the analyst, by the way, said that the share price for Amazon should be $2,300 per share, which would put it over $1 trillion. So let's go ahead and look at something that's very interesting here, and this is the revenue of each of these companies. So Amazon actually does significantly more revenue than Microsoft. Microsoft does $125.8 billion in revenue, and Amazon does $232.9 billion in US dollars in revenue. And that is the 2018 for Amazon, and that is 2019 for Microsoft. Those are fluctuating a little bit. These are just the prices that came up when I was doing my research here. So one big part of both of these companies that I think is very overlooked is the cloud computing ability and basically the web services, which means this part of the business is basically hosting websites. So all the companies that host people's websites, that do that sort of thing in cloud computing is actually a huge part of Amazon business, and it's called Amazon Web Services, and not many people know this. And Microsoft is a similar one, which is called Azure. So this is actually a massive part of each of their businesses. And if we look at here, Amazon actually has a much larger market share than Microsoft. Its market share is 32.3%, and it's actually getting closer to about half, whereas Microsoft's is about 16.5%. So one of the main reasons for Microsoft stock increasing is because of this cloud-based computing and its ability and its improvement in that sector, as well as its ability to hopefully take more of the cloud computing marketplace. And if we look at the market share, though, Amazon still owns so much more, which means, to me, it seems like Amazon should be, its stock should be going up with Microsoft's as their cloud computing abilities both improve. But let's go ahead and look at hypercharts here, and you should check this website out. It's a great charting website. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other numbers, such as the operating income and how they're doing overall in their fundamentals. So first off, let's look at Microsoft, since we are comparing these two. So for Microsoft, its net income is around $13,187 million. And if we go over to Amazon here now, we can tell that its net income is around $2,625 million, significantly less than Microsoft's net income. So that does say something. Microsoft is actually making overall in their net income significantly more than Amazon, even though Amazon's revenue is significantly higher. And I bet if we go and look at the margin here, there's going to be a massive difference. So if we look at the profit margin here on this graph here, Microsoft's profit margin is getting close to 40%, whereas Amazon's profit margin is actually decreasing right now, and it's below 5%. So Amazon's profit margin is horrible, and that's probably because it's relying on volume, whereas Microsoft is also relying on volume, but it has mastered the practice of high margin sales, just like Apple as well. So marking up its phones, marking up its services, etc. And it's continuing its climb upwards past, and it's past $1 trillion. It's going to keep going past $1 trillion, whereas Amazon has some work to do. As well as Amazon's been taking a lot of criticism from the media. All the new Democratic candidates running for office right now are all criticizing Amazon, or most of them at least, Some are trying to split the company up. Most of them are hating on Jeff Bezos. There's mistreatment of workers, etc. There's rumors, whatever it may be. And with Microsoft, we just don't see that negative news coverage right now. Microsoft's in a very positive light. Bill Gates is now a philanthropist who's very, well liked by almost everyone, I believe. And so when you compare these two companies and the news coverage around them, we really see a lot more positive news around Microsoft and a lot more negative news around Amazon, at least right now. And then if we look at the margin and how much they're actually making in net income, we can tell that Microsoft's still making significantly more than Amazon at the moment in net income, and operating at a much higher margin than Amazon as well. So this is very important when you look at these fundamentals, because you could say that, oh, they're both massive companies and maybe they both seem like trillion-dollar companies. But when we look at the fundamentals, Microsoft's making more money. It's operating at a way better margin. Amazon's has negative news coverage. It's making less money in net income, even if its revenue is more. And its margin is barely anything. So when you compare the two, Microsoft, it's significantly higher than Amazon, and that's probably for a good reason. So maybe Amazon isn't worth a trillion dollar company right now, and maybe this analyst is actually wrong. Now, everybody can have their own opinion here, and I'd love to hear your arguments about whether Amazon is a trillion-dollar company or not. But when I compare Amazon to trillion-dollar companies like Microsoft or Apple, it just doesn't compare yet. And perhaps it'll improve on its margin. Perhaps it'll improve on its net income when its margin improves. We're going to have to wait and see. And it also depends on the news coverage and how the market is feeling about Amazon as a company. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'm going to go ahead and keep eating my rice here and beans. It's getting a little cold after recording this. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.